Welcome back, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. And today I have a project for you, and of course I always have a project for you. So in my last video I showed how I organize and store my vintage lace and linens. So I'm going to combine two things: one, the organizing my stash, and one of my most popular videos is how to make this scrappy snappy bag that's made with, this one was made with an old tablecloth, and also use metal tape measure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, do a little demonstration for you. I'm going to use this vintage napkin, not a placemat. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to use some various pieces of lace. And I thought, well, with it being bridal season coming up, but even if it's not bridal season, I think this will be a sweet project, and you could use maybe some of your lace treasures to do this. So don't go away. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. So here's my pattern. I have it printed off. You can go to myhallcloset.com. That's my blog. Subscribe there, and you can download this pattern for free. So I could cut this out with scissors, but I'm going to go ahead and just use a razor knife and cut this out. Let me show you. These are two that I did with just a little piece of fabric that I got from the quilt shop, and then an old quilt, and a little piece of lace and some ball trim. Cute little thing. Alright, so I'm going to cut this out with a razor knife and use my ruler. And you could use scissors. You don't have to use a razor knife, but I think it might be just a little tiny bit faster. And I'm going to fast forward this. Okay, for this you're going to need either a piece, this is a damask napkin that I only have one of, and so I'm going to use this. It's got a few little stains on it, but I'm okay with that. There's a couple of little spots right there, but I'm going to use this for the main fabric and for the lining because there's enough of it. So, and then that way, I mean, you could just do the face of it if you want to. I have a piece of fiber fill that has, this one has a fusible back on it, and then some flat lace, some ruffled lace, some small lace, and some that's a little bit larger. And so I'm not sure what all I'm going to use because it's not a very big bag. Alright, so let me move. Let's see, I'll do the batting first. Oh, you'll need a pair of scissors and a pincushion. Doesn't have to be a vintage pincushion, believe it or not. It does not. Or you can use like a roller cutter. So I am going to just pin this in place just in case you're going to be, I'm going to show you just in case you're just using scissors. And I will cut this one with scissors, and then I'll go find my roller cutter. So this is the interfacing. It doesn't have to be batting. You can use like a just a stiff interfacing, something to give it just a little bit of body, but I like to use this little lightweight batting for that. Okay, so we've got that. I'll just leave that there, and you can see the little marks here. These are the center marks. We'll center that up. Now, the face fabric, this is the outer layer fabric, and then deciding which direction do I want this to go. And does it really matter? And it probably doesn't really matter, but I think I want it to go this direction. So we're going to make this the outer layer, and it doesn't matter whether it's, and you only cut one of this, so you can see it's not very large at all. So then this is our outer layer, and it looks like there might be enough to do this for the lining, but let's see. Maybe not. Almost, but not quite. So we'll move down here. This you're going to cut on the fold. So I need about that much. Like that. I'm going to turn it this way just because, no particular reason. Line that up on my fold. So I've got my outer layer, my lining, and my batting, and I have a strap. I want to cut a strap. I may put a piece of lace for the strap, so I'm not going to fool with the strap right now. What I did is I cut it like this, and I have enough to cut the strap out of the other fabric, but I might just put either a little satin ribbon. I think that's what I'll do, is put a satin ribbon. So, all right, so this one is, we'll put these out of the way. This is our main body. This is the important part here. All right. So I'm going to fold this. This is all of the area that we're going to embellish, and so I have way pulled out too much lace. Like this one is almost the entire width of this. Now we could do one piece of lace on one side and a couple of pieces of lace on the other side, or we could leave the back plain. And I need to remember that I'm going to have a seam allowance right here. So let's see. And this, let me go ahead and mark, since we're going to embellish this a little bit, I'll mark the fold, not the fold of the lining, but just this fold of the main part of the fabric, so that I know how far down I can go with my lace. So I'm just going to play for a minute and see what I want to put on here. I really love this particular piece of lace. I think that is really, really pretty. And I think I'm just going to do one side is what I'm going to do for this. So I am going to pin this in place because I love this. Now I could go to the machine and go ahead and stitch that, and I might, but for right now, I want to just make sure what I want to put on here. But I know I like that. I've got this little piece of lace, which I think might be too heavy, and I have this and the same sort of thing. I think that's too heavy also. So let me get this one. And this one might be too yellow. And I have this ruffled lace, which is going to be too much. Okay, so I went to go dig just a little bit more, and I think I like what I came up with. This one, of course, I said it was a little bit yellow, but I found this one in another stash of stuff. I used to sell some lace on Etsy, and so I think that's what I'm going to do. Then that'll give me 3 little layers, a little room for my seam allowance for the lining to fold over. So I think that looks pretty good. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit, see what you think. These 2 dark areas here are where the little points were for my halfway mark. So I'm going to mark those with a pen. This is on my batting. And this could happen 2 different ways, and I'll show you. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that there with a pen. Or you could just simply fold it in half, make sure it's halfway, mark it with a pen, there we are, and there. Okay, so I already have the halfway mark. Now I could just stitch this straight onto this fabric without this batting, but I really think I would like the little kind of padded effect. So I'm going to match up these 2 pins right here and then just repin this. I think I need to shift this just a tiny bit. There we go. All right, repin this and make sure I'm even here and pin here. And actually I want to put the pin heads to the outside, so let me do that. Get rid of those. And so I'm going to do my lower layer first, and this side is pretty. It doesn't have any stains or anything on it, so I'm gonna pin this first. I actually think I want to, because I've just kind of eyeballed this. I'm really good about just eyeballing. So let's see, that is right at 1 inch down, and that's right at 1 inch. There we are. We'll lift that up just a tiny bit. There. Okay, so I'm going to pull my sewing machine over and stitch this up. Make sure you can see that. You can backstitch that if you want to, but I don't really see much of a reason to backstitch it. Make sure you don't run over your pins. Okay, for this one, this next little piece of lace, I am not going to pin it down. You could pin it down, but I'm not going to. And I'm just going to come just a little bit above this part right here, just so that it's not quite so thick to sew through. And again, you can pin it if you want to, but you don't have to. Make sure if there's a right and a wrong side to this lace, and there is. Did I miss that? Nope, I caught it. I thought that I missed it, but I caught it. And I brought this up a little bit higher. You don't have to, but whenever I turn my lining over, it will catch the top part of this lace. Okay, so the next step is to attach the lining. So scoot this back again. And again, I have a halfway mark. Scooch my pins in here. Because remember, we cut this on the fold. So this is going to be the inside of the bag. So I want the right side, the pretty side, down, even though this back side is kind of pretty too. Just depends on which look that you like and which was the right or the wrong side of that. So I've used this shiny side to the outside. Anyway, so now whenever I fold this over and you see that there's batting that's extra, it's supposed to be like that. And that's where your fold of your the casing part that's going to hold your tape measure, that's where that's going to be. So we're going to line this up, line these pins up again just like we did there. Get rid of that one, and there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put another couple of pins in here just to kind of hold everything together. And you could put lace on both sides of this. You could do solid lace on top of the damask, a nice open lace or a Battenberg on top of that. Okay, so this is going to have like a little 1/2 inch fold down. We could press that or just kind of finger press it, and that's what I'm going to do, is just about like that and that. I'm going to turn this down and line this up on the top of this lace. Okay, I've pinned both sides, the top and the bottom, and it's just a little smidgy over 1 inch. You can, if you want to be real precise, you can make it just exactly 1 inch, but this is just, it's just a little tatty bit over 1 inch. And so I wanted to catch this, make sure I caught that lace there, and so, all right. And it's enough room to comfortably accommodate the tape measure. Okay, and my tape measure is already cut. This one is cut at 5 inches. I've made some of these that are larger, cut them a little bit bigger, but I don't do them much bigger than 6 inches. Now you can do whatever you want to. Let's get this. All right, we'll get this side first because it just happens to be here. So we're going to come right to the edge. And just a nice little straight stitch right along that edge. I'm going to, and all I'm doing is just kind of laying that so I don't end up with a pucker or a large piece hanging over at the very end. So that just kind of lays it down so it doesn't feed more through there. Don't sew the pins. I'm going to do the same thing here, just kind of I'm not really puckering it, I'm just laying it flat so that it doesn't. Sometimes older fabrics kind of want to stretch a little bit as you're going. So. This is looking pretty sweet. Do you remember this little sack of goodies from my last video? Well, if not, you can go back and watch that. But anyway, I found this cool little braid stuff in there, this wide and narrow braid stuff. Well, in that sack was also this piece of ribbon that looks to be just exactly the right color. So that's what I'm going to use for my little strap instead of making a fabric strap. But you can certainly make a fabric strap. So I'm going to cut a little bit of that off. But first we're going to put the rulers in, the tape measure in. One of my subscribers suggested that I do this, and I think it's a really good idea. So I've just got, this is some, she suggested duct tape, but I didn't want to do duct tape. And that is just to put a little bit of a protective covering over the tape measures so that you don't wind up getting a cut accidentally, because they can be, even though I've like tried to be sure that these were rounded off, but still, just to be on the safe side. It doesn't have to, you could probably even put washi tape or something like that. It doesn't have to be a particular, and these bags are not going to get washed. They're probably not even going to be much used. Maybe just kind of a little collectible or a hostess gift to or a bridesmaid's gift. I think it would make a really sweet bridesmaid's gift. Okay, so we can cut that extra off or not. I don't think it needs it. You're going to put the rounded, make sure I'm still in frame here. Yes, you're going to put this rounded edge to the inside. So it'll open, snap shut. So this plain edge is going to go to the top. And we'll see if I can get that in there with that tape on there. All right, I'm going to make sure I have enough space at the ends to put to do the seam and not sew into the tape measure. So to turn it over and do the same thing over here. This round part to the outside and this to the inside. And it would be easier if I trimmed that tape off, but I'm just being lazy. So that's not getting trimmed off right now. All right, make sure that I've got that the same thing. There we go. All right, so we're going to fold it in half this way. Now, one of the things I want to do, I don't want to catch my lace in, I want to catch it over here, but not this little pretty part of this lace. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little pin right here just to make sure I don't catch that, and pull this over just a little bit. And it's going to catch this top part, but not the little hanging down part. All right, fold this in half. Match up my top edges. Pin that in place. Now I do want to put this little piece of ribbon in there. So let's see which side. It doesn't really matter what side it goes on, but I'm going to put it over here on this side. Where does it need to go? Halfway. Does it matter? Halfway is what I'm going to do. I could put it like right there at the edge of that, but I'm going to put it halfway into this this little sleeve, the little casing part. Put that there. I could go ahead and stitch that and then it would be done. Line this up. Another little pin here. Pull that down, and I think that's good. Good. All right. So now we're ready to stitch. We are almost finished. I didn't time this yet. I can look at this, but I think it takes maybe about 30 minutes. But if you're making several of them, it goes even faster than that. So what I want to do is make sure I'm lined up at the top. And make sure I haven't pinned into my tape measure and all that. And I'm going to do just about my presser foot width. And again, making sure that I'm not into my tape measure. I'm going to do a couple of little stitches, just hand rolling it to make sure those top edges match. And since I walked that across, I was able to walk that across that pin. And then back stitch a little bit. Maybe a couple of times. And so I got it. You can see I got a good match at the top. And repeat on the other side. Make sure I'm matched up. And then I'm going to trim these extra threads and extra batting just to kind of even everything up because I want to do a little zigzag on this. Okay, we're ready to turn this. right side out. Get rid of that, punch out my corners. So here you go. I think this took us maybe about a half an hour, maybe. If you do several of these, it won't even take that long. You can do them kind of assembly line. I like to do that. My brain kind of thinks that way. If you enjoyed this video, give me a little thumbs up. You can hop over to my hall closet and download the pattern for this. You'll have to subscribe to my blog and get the free pattern, but I promise I won't spam you. And you know what I'm fixing to do now? I'm fixing to go put all those little pieces of lace that I drug out to see what to do with. I'm fixing to go put them back up so I don't wind up with a whole bunch of mess. See you next time. Bye.